Hello and welcome back to Real Talk and Real Graps, the only show on YouTube that thinks Montez Ford should get a singles push. It was a Friday night Smackdown last night, and we are only 2 weeks out from Wrestlemania, so let's talk about it. Last night, SmackDown opened with Santos Escobar versus Rey Mysterio, with Santos Escobar going over after interference from Dominic Mysterio. Now, this match didn't really do much for me. I'm not the biggest Santos Escobar in ring guy, and while I certainly respect what Rey Mysterio has done for the company in the past, current day Rey Mysterio is not super up there in terms of guys I want to watch. But I thought what was really interesting was the Dominic Mysterio interference. This kind of gives him more of a path to WrestleMania. It was speculated that he was initially supposed to have a match against Brock Lesnar, which I actually think might have been fun as long as he just got squashed. Um, but I think what the move here is for WWE is they're going to throw LWO and Santos Escobar's faction, which the name escapes me, in some sort of big multi-man, like maybe five-man tag match at Mania, just to kind of settle this beef. Honestly, wouldn't hate a War Games match out of them. I think that would really make this match a lot more interesting and maybe a lot more deserving of being on a WrestleMania card. But I understand that they really like to save that match stipulation more for Survivor Series, which, whatever, fine with me. But I also think this makes Dominic Mysterio's path to WrestleMania again way clearer. He didn't really have a direction, and at 2 weeks out, this is the time where you kind of start worrying. But I think his path is now tied to the LWO, Rey Mysterio, and Santos Escobar, and that could be fun, I guess. Obviously, I don't think Dom's the best wrestler in the world, but he's clearly very over. I don't know what the opposite of over is, but he's doing his job really well, and he's pretty popular. People love to boo him. So if WWE wants to put him on the card somehow, fine by me. I understand. Next was A Town Down Under versus the OC, which is AJ Styles' faction. And if you know me, you know I'm a big A Town Down Under fan, both as a team and in singles competition, like individually. Theory's a really good seller for me, and Waller shows some really good flashes of like being able to do really cool shit. But I think right now they're not being taken super seriously by WWE, especially after Theory lost the U.S. title. It feels like they're kind of in like a comedy act era where I really do feel like they could be more serious wrestlers putting on more serious, really good matches. This match in particular wasn't awesome. It didn't really do a ton for me. It didn't really move the needle for me. But again, I know that they can do stuff, and between them and the Street Profits, I think it's more likely that they advance to the six pack ladder match than the Street Profits, unfortunately, but we'll get to that. Next was Io Sky versus Naomi, and I'm going to use this segment to kind of talk about all the damage control and Bianca Belair Naomi stuff. So Io Sky goes over after damage control interference, but Bianca comes out to kind of stop the beatdown on Naomi before they overwhelm her and they beat the shit out of her. But for somebody whose Mania future was really up in the air, it was surprising for Bianca Belair to be like one of those people because she is so talented. But I think it's much more clear now. It's probably, if I had to guess, I would say probably be Bianca and Naomi versus Asuka and Kairi Sane for the tag titles at Mania, which would be awesome. These are four amazing workers in a match together. I would be super excited to see that. I don't really mind that it's not singles competition for Bianca because good wrestlers can put on good tag matches and good singles matches. It doesn't really matter. But I thought like something that stuck out for me from how Bianca's been acting and how Naomi's been acting towards Damage Control since they both kind of got together a little bit is I'm really enjoying this era of character work in WWE because it feels like actions have consequences, right? Bianca remembers when Bailey beat the shit out of her with damage control, and she's not ready to be like, oh, Bailey, good guy now, she deserves our help and whatnot. But Naomi didn't have that experience, so she's kind of like, oh, yeah, I know she did all these bad things, but she didn't do that to me, and, I kind of feel bad for her. She has no personal connection to it, and I think it's a great step up in a lot of older WWE storytelling that we've been seeing that I have been really enjoying. Also, somebody of note who's probably not going to make it to Mania is Tiffany Stratton. I know there's a massive uproar about this. I don't really mind. She came up like onto the main roster like a month ago. She doesn't really have a path. Who would she be feuding with? Like Bianca's doing this now, and that's really the only person she's really angered outside of Becky Lynch, who's paired up with Rhea Ripley. I don't see a path for her at Mania going forward, but I absolutely see her becoming like a top woman star who gets tons of media matches going forward. So while I will miss her on my TV this year, I don't think we'll be missing her in very many coming Manias, as well as Jade Cargill. I don't think has a path to Mania, and finally, after 7 months, has signed to a brand. She is signed to SmackDown. Super exciting. Kind of a weird timing because again, 2 weeks from Mania, what's she really going to be doing? Right? Obviously, there's no build for her at Mania at all, so I don't think she'll be involved. But I don't know what her plan is in these next 2 episodes of SmackDown that would like utilize her at all, other than just showing up and squashing people. To me, if there's no real plan, it would have made more sense for her to debut after Mania and just have her kind of ride the wave of post Mania hype. KO and Randy Orton had a backstage segment where they're going to have a match with Pretty Deadly next week, and yeah, I'm kind of confused but kind of interested as to how this dynamic of them kind of being friends and having a mutual hatred for Logan Paul and that kind of getting them, closer together, how that interacts in the triple threat at Mania. Personally, I think Logan Paul should retain. I don't know if that's what happens. I think it might be the plan to give Kevin Owens the belt, but I am excited for some of the in-ring work that comes from this kind of Kevin Owens and Randy Orton partnership. LA Knight pulled a Swerve Strickland. Yes, that is what I'm calling it. I don't care. Showed up to AJ Styles' house to beat the shit out of him. Gets arrested, whatever. Just building hype for the Mania match. I'm not the biggest LA Knight guy in the ring. I think it's fun to hear him talk, but when it comes time to actually, do the wrestling part of the business, I don't think he's great. But pairing him with an experienced vet who, at his peak, was one of the best wrestlers in the world and can absolutely still put on good matches, I think is a good idea for showcasing Knight on the biggest stage. I do feel a little bad for AJ Styles kind of not getting the premier talent to be kind of paired up with that I'm sure he would want. But he's going to be on Mania and he's going to get paid a lot of money. So I don't know how much he really minds. Last match of the night was Street Profits versus the Authors of Pain. Man, I just don't care. I just don't care about the Authors of Pain or any of Karrion Kross's faction. I don't know what they're called, and it's because I don't care. Like, I'm not moved by anyone in that faction. I don't give a shit, and I'm glad to see the Street Profits go over because they are a tag team I very much like. Mentioned Montez Ford at the beginning of the video, maybe needing to get a singles push, but I also love Angelo Dawkins. They both bring such a great energy to the ring. Ford can do so much high flying, like crazy athletic shit, and then Dawkins can do a bunch of like the big boy, punches, chops, and like bodying guys stuff. I think they work really well together, and I think I would like to see them with tag titles in the future, especially with them likely being split soon. That is my wish for them. And in terms of who goes over them or A-Town Down Under, I don't know, but I don't think I'm going to be super disappointed either way because I think the Street Profits are a great candidate for like the first feud of whoever wins the SmackDown version of the tag titles at Mania. Let's talk about Cody and Roman. Man, kind of disappointing. No, I feel like this is the sentiment. I've been kind of vocal about being like the build to the Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns match at Mania has not been good. Build to the tag team match, pretty good, fine. I've been enjoying it, but the build to the Night 2 main event has not been good. They haven't really interacted before the Royal Rumble at all, and after that, even The Rock kind of stealing that spotlight and making it all about himself, kind of like isn't doing it for me, right? There wasn't a lot to love in this segment either. It took up like 20 minutes of the show, a good chunk of like that last hour. Again, only 4 matches on the card tonight, so they definitely planned on giving them a lot of time. I feel like they didn't do a ton with that time. A ton of great stuff with that time. I did pop for Cody had a line in his promo where he goes, I know a little bit like a thing or two about factions myself. I'm wearing my Bullet cufflinks today, and I popped. Nobody else cared. That broke my heart. Nobody else in that arena gave a shit about the Bullet Club. And that made me so sad. But I popped. I liked it, and it was fun for me. That was really the only part that moved me, though. And then at the end, where the Bloodline, Jimmy and Solo come out in the black jackets, and then the camera pans to Rollins and Jay in similar black hoodies. That was pretty hard. I enjoyed that, but outside of those two moments, it felt like kind of just a big nothing burger for me. Did not raise my excitement levels at all, and I thought it was kind of mid work from the two parties. That's it for me today. No collision tonight, which is sad. Meh. So maybe no video tomorrow. It's hard to say. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, leave a like, comment. Ben, you're so cool. I loved this video. If you didn't, you can go ahead and leave a hate comment. I don't know. It doesn't bother me. One time somebody told me I had like wide childbirthing hips. So frankly, nothing you say can ever do more emotional damage to me than that singular comment. But that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'ma catch you.